Is AI going to take over society? Will Japan invade China? And are they going to have any Christmas markets in Germany? And finally, will I speak faster than Ben Shapiro on meth today? Hopefully not, because that's what happened last time. Welcome to the Ripple Effect. So the first thing I wanted to get into is AI. One of the biggest things that's going on with AI right now is the fact that AI has created a song that is charting #1 on the billboards. And I call it theft. And here's my reasoning behind why I think that the AI and using it for the sake of like creating music and then allowing it to be published and sold is theft, is because AI can't create. So AI is given inputs, and the inputs then kick out certain things, and you can ask it for certain things and it'll kick that stuff out. But the one thing is it cannot create. We as humans are created in the image of God, and so because of that we can create. I mean, you put someone on a desert island and they can figure something out. They can create, they can invent. But AI can only do from off what it's been handed or given. So when it does something like, I think it was like a country song I heard the song, so it sounded like a country song. But when it makes that song, it's stealing or taking from some other creator who's out there and then mimicking or imaging that themselves, and then I guess making money on it. And then who makes money on it? There's an AI actress apparently too out there. So who's making money off of her? And is she anything new or original? No, it's all mimicking of actual godly and divinely created beings. And that's why it's theft. I don't believe you should be allowing people to make money off of AI creations. And there's a big difference between AI being useful in research and that kind of thing, where it's bringing, it's the same idea then of just a glorified Google. And in that case, it works great. It's actually quite wonderful. But AI, unlike humans, is not created in the image of God. And it can only create within the parameters that it's given. And even when we have advanced AI, it'll still be given parameters and it'll still have a database to pull from. It won't be able to create stuff on its own. Next is the very important thing of Japan. Japan right now is very closely allied to America, and I was going to say Abe, but it's not Abe. The Prime Minister of Japan is Takaichi. I think I am terrible with names, and I apologize in advance. But what's interesting recently is actually they were pointing out there was a report that was showing out that the words that she was using are very specific words with regards to China and their relationship with Taiwan. And the words themselves are the type of words that would authorize Japan to attack China if they attempted something on Taiwan. She came out very clear when saying that they will hold a hard, fast line with no one gets to basically invade Taiwan. And because of that, it's because they understand how defensive, protective for the country that is to have Taiwan there. So she used words when she said what she said in the phraseology of to defend the country. They might have to do that. And for the very entity of who they are, right? That they might lose that. And those are the conditions under which they would be allowed to attack if they felt provoked to a degree that they reached. Those words are a very specific legal expression that is used. So it does make you wonder, are we finally getting some backbone out of the people in the area so that America's not the only one having to push back against the idea of them invading China? But this angered the CCP, or the Communist Party of China, so much, the Chinese Communist Party, that their diplomat, their ambassador in Japan actually came out and I don't remember if it was tweeted or like their version of Twitter or X, but came out and said that she would lose her head. That said, she's poking her head where it doesn't belong. They're going to lop off her head at the neck. And we know from the context and everything that he was saying and the fact that he's done these kind of things before, that he's not joking and that he physically is actually making an actual threat against the leader of Japan. So this is telling you how much China is concerned, and also the lengths that China is willing to go to deal in these issues of they do want to take Taiwan back. Okay. And they're invading in small areas in Japan, taking over some of the islands, or at least incursions into these islands. Even Philippines is dealing with all this and facing it. And this is not unusual, unfortunately, for China. And Japan's been having to deal with this for a while. Philippines has been having to deal with it, and obviously Taiwan as well. It's been going on for a while. Now, I wanted to address something called the what I call the Islamification effect, okay? And you can see this going through Europe right now, and it's really bad in Germany. And I remember being a kid, and one of the most wonderful things ever as a kid going through Germany was we would go to the Christmas markets, and they were just amazing. They were so beautiful. It was like the music even, and you could even hear songs like Silent Night and all these other things that you know, and they'd be going in the background. It was just this amazing, beautiful effect and everything around there. The markets, the lights, the foods, everything is just so amazing in the atmosphere. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. However, the sad part is that towns this year are actually not going to be having their Christmas markets in Germany because they said they cannot protect them from the Islamists in the area. So here, German towns are not going to be having Christmas markets because the Muslims are going to have an issue with Christmas markets that have been going on for decades and decades and decades, man, and how long? There's a definite problem in a country where people can come in and literally steal your traditions and your life. And I cannot even imagine how devastating, if I'm upset about it, and I've only just visited a few times, but I cannot even imagine how devastating that is to the actual people that live in these towns, that grew up with all of this as their life. And now because of the policies of Europe and the policies of even their country, they've been allowing so many people to come in with different beliefs than them, that they're having to close down these amazing traditions that they have. And that, along with, and this ties in with the story that I'd mentioned a while ago. I think it was a Swedish girl who was, I think 15, but I can't remember exactly. But I can't say what was done to her, but it's a sexual assault of a very violative nature for a girl. And the punishment to the Islamic man who had done the deed to a 15-year-old, had done the deed to her, was extremely light, because he was Islamic, and, quote, I'm going to be polite, the sexual assault didn't last long enough. So because he didn't get to enjoy himself at her expense long enough, they didn't really punish him that much. But truth be told, had it been a Swedish guy that had done it, I guarantee you it would have been a more severe punishment. But because it was an Islamic man, they, had to make sure that they didn't go too hard against him, and he got an extremely light sentence. We must wake up to these threats, guys. We have to understand that the Islamic threat is huge. And you want to understand their philosophy and their mindset. I refer you again to the apostate prophet. He goes into all this stuff. And again, I don't agree with him 100%, but he deals with how much of a threat it is coming into our country and invading really the whole world right now. Now, in my final segment, here we go. I have my something fun. So a baby elephant was caught stealing sugarcane. And what it did to hide from the people that found it was hysterical. It was hiding behind a light pole. So you can see this whole elephant here. And it had been chowing down, and now it's hiding. You can't see it. It reminds me of a little kid, who's hiding their head under a pillow or a blanket, and they say, "You can't see me. You can't see me." So here's my quick facts for the day. It has been discovered that tens of thousands of people that are on SNAP are dead. So benefits have been being received by tens of thousands at this point that they know of, that are dead. So people have been exploiting the system. No surprise there. We've kind of already known that, but just wanted to put that out there. More Epstein files were released, okay, and the Democrats released some that mentioned Trump, all right? How much? Not much. From what I could see, I think they said there was like 5 or 6 emails or whatever else, documents that they released about Trump. And how much new did we learn? I threw this question in there. How much new things have we learned about Trump and Epstein? I'm going to state them right now. Here we go. Ready? Oh, nothing. Yeah, we learned nothing. Basically, we learned that Trump and Epstein knew each other and that they had a falling out. So that's cool. And the Democrats even have now, or there's text messages that the Democrats had where they were trying to use him, Epstein, to attack Trump. So at some point, Epstein wanted to destroy Trump, but couldn't. So that tells you there's probably nothing there. I mean, I'm going to be honest. And I'm the first one, and I'll claim it, and you can come after me later if this ever comes true. If Trump has done anything wrong like that, he should be punished. I'm not an absolutist when it comes to any person. I'm an absolutist on the morals and the principles and the belief in God and in His divine purpose for our lives that He gives us from His Word, the Bible. So if Trump's done something wrong, then he should be punished for it. But just like everyone else, and I don't think we're ever going to find any good information out from those documents, but I'd love to see some of the Johns named there and punished for that kind of stuff. And you can't tell me that this kind of stuff is not going on in other places. We know the whole thing that's going down with Gates right now, or yeah, I think it's Gates, with the underage girl that he was sleeping with at some point during these parties, that there's stuff that's going on in politics that is absolutely dirty and loony, and it needs to be uncovered and it needs to be punished. Trump is suing the BBC for edited video to the tune of $5 billion. And if you don't know this, I might cover this later, but this is the video where they edit it to make it seem like Trump was encouraging / wanting to go with the people on January 6th to storm the Capitol. And then my last fact of the day, which I thought was very, very, very cool, is Fetterman makes the best case. This is Senator Fetterman. Makes the best case why the leftists are actually horrible people. And he states that even though because he's holding a middle ground on some things, that he's getting attacked from both sides. And he said, there's one side that wants me dead, wants me killed, wants my children killed, wants my children to see me suffer and die. And that's the lefties, not the conservatives. That's the lefties. The conservatives, they may hate me when I do things that they don't like, but they're not wanting me dead. They're not wanting to kill me. There's a clear distinction between the two guys. There's a clear distinction between the two. And on that note, we're going to call it a day. Have a good weekend. I'm sorry for this being a little bit late. I was super busy Friday. But I just want to say, try to reach someone today. And like I've been talking about, and I mentioned a few times today, that we have a beautiful country. We have a beautiful country where we can reach out and win people around us. So please try to each person reach one person. Try to find someone you can just say something to. Even if it's something small, try to find something small you can talk to someone today about to reach them over for God so that they can understand who the divine creator is and what their purpose in life is. And that purpose in life first is to accept him as their savior by understanding the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and what he's done for us on the cross so that we could be saved. Remember, that's the E1R1 project. Everyone reach one for him. Not for me, for him. Please keeping it going, guys. I appreciate the views and I appreciate the subscriptions. Try to reach out. Have a good day, guys. Thank you so much for watching.